Hi, and this Visual Basic project. In this very project, the first thing I would do now is just let me give it a name. I would call it billing system. Okay, that's what I'm going to call my project, and I've selected Windows Forms application, so I'll just click on OK. Alright, this is how my system looks right now, and let me just extend my form a little bit, maybe a little bit more. That's cool. Alright, so the next thing I'll do now is let's go into the toolbox. I think maybe I should use something I've never used for a very long time now. Let's look for tab. There we go. So I'm just going to put my tab right there. Okay, that's my tab right there. Then let's just change the content of this tab. I will try to make sure this very program doesn't take too long. So the first part of the tab, maybe I should call that, I'll call it maybe a receipt or calculator, but the second one, I'll just call the second one, my first one will be calculator. Yeah, system calculator. So just put calc there. So I have my calculator in place, and the second part of just call that. Let's call that as the second one. I'll call that a receipt. Yeah, there it is. So just call that a receipt there. So since the first part is calculator, so now let me design the interface of the calculator and just get the calculator going. But before I do that, let me just change this form, the form color. Let me choose something beautiful just to make it look, yeah, why not, window. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Good. Now let's get some buttons and get this calculator going. So I need a couple of buttons here, so I'm just gonna maybe speed that up and get back to you guys. Okay, for now this is how my project is looking. I have my calculator buttons in place, so you guys shouldn't have any problem with the calculator buttons. But up here I have a label there. You can see that label just to output the content as well. So, and I have all my buttons in place, so the next thing I'll do is just to get the code going. Well, before that, maybe I should just change the background color of this. Let's come up here and just change the back color. Let's make it a little bit darker, or maybe something like that. No, I don't like that. I may change it later on, but I don't know. I haven't made up my mind yet. Okay, that's for the calculator right now. So the next thing is let's start with the coding. Okay, so far this is how my system is looking. I've finished putting together the code, so let me just show you guys the code quick. Alright, up here are the variables declared, and this is for button 1. Since there's a 0 in the label, anytime I click on 1, and that's what happened. And that's it right there. That's for 2, 3, and so on. Let me just show you guys codes for the calculator gradually. It's all the same, it's very similar, and I have other tutorials online. And here is this is for the decimal place, or the decimal points. That's it right there. Okay, let's take it down one more time. And here, this is where I started using all the operators. They are the arithmetic operators. That's for the plus, minus, and so on. Division, multiplication. And here, this is where all the calculations take place for the calculator using the if statement. Right. So let's move it down a little bit more, and right underneath here, that's where I clear my system. So back to the form. Let's go back to the design view. So I'm just going to get the form, come down here and set the start position. Let me put it center screen. Good. So the next thing is to start with the design of the interface. So okay, just before I start with the design of the interface itself, let's come to the receipt right here. So with the receipt on, I'm going to add a text box in there. Let's look for a text box there for my receipts. Right, let's drag it there and click on multi-line, select that there. I think that might be a little bit too wide. That's good. That's fine. So the background, let me change the background color as well to something a little bit darker so that one can see the receipt itself. Okay, that's it. That's the receipt in there. Okay, I'm just gonna start by, let's add the following. Let's get a group box there, and that group box, maybe I should change the color. Let's just change the color of the back color of the group box just to make it look a little bit different. No, I don't seem to like that. Maybe a little bit darker as well. Okay, that's fine for now. Now I need some I need checkbox. Yep, put my checkbox right there. I will need about 3 of those. But let's change the back color of this checkbox to something a bit brighter. Yeah, that's good. Let's bring it down. It's 2. I have 2 there. 3, 4. Okay. All right. This very project is going to be an online booking system or sales system. So let me give this checkbox name. So I'm going to call that let's call that carpets. So that's for those who intend to order carpets. So that's going to be known as CHK carpet. So let's scroll up and give it a name, CHK carpet. So the next one, the next object, CHK, shall we call that fabric? Yep, that's fine. So that's fabric, copy, and scroll right down and change the text content to fabric. Okay, so I'm just gonna speed this up and get back to you guys. Hi, and this is how the interface is looking now after the final development of projects. But 1 or 2 things is remaining, so let me just get this text box sorted. I think maybe I should add a scroll bar to it. Yep, I'm going to set it for both, and I think that might be about it. So let's just save and run. Let me run it and see. Okay, this is how it's looking right now. The calculator, if I say 12 plus 6 or whatever, you can see the 12 up there plus 6 is right there. That's looking good. Let's multiply that by anything. That's fine. Okay, the calculator is working as expected, and this is the this is the receipt, and that is the scroll bar that I said. But for now the system is not working yet because I have not code the rest of the program. So I will get back to you guys as soon as I start coding so that you see how the whole codes go. But before then, let me just set all of these code the reset button, and I'll get back to you guys. Alright folks, this is how the program is looking right now. Those are the lines of code that we use in the development. So let me just scroll down so that you guys can see the very first part of it right there. That's the global variable declared for the calculator, and these other declaration right here, the declared variables and the constant, those are for the online system. So I might as well just comment that out, online system variables. Right, so you must have seen these lines of codes before. Those are the code used in the development of the calculator. So I'm just going to scroll down so that you can see the rest of the code that was used for the online system itself. That's all for calculator there. Now I have some local variable here. These are the local variable, and from there on you can see the codes that are used in the development of the online system itself, and there they are. suppose you can see it. Yeah. And now the next lines of code here is just to reset the system. And right underneath here I have a private function that was then called within the calculating or within the method used for calculation of whatever items that were chosen, and that is the code. So let me just take it back up again. Those are the lines of codes. And there. So let's just run the program right now. I enter the value for the carpet there. If you do not select any of these, you will have an error. Since it's selected, that's it. So supposing I include the tax, click on that, and that is it. That's what you get. But if you want to verify the price of this, you must know the price of the constant. You can always use the calculator to double check whatever that is. That's the purpose of the calculator. And since I've pressed that, the receipt, that is the receipt. You can see the value in here is right in here as well. Okay, that's the whole purpose of the receipt. So I will now just reset the system. Something is missing here. Look at that. The reset button there is not working, so I'm going to just reset that. So let's go back into the code, find out the name of that particular item. Yep, so that's it. There is now reset. So double click on that and come right down here. There, it's not there, so just paste it underneath and reset it. That's it. Reset of that is done. So I'm just going to rerun the program again just to double check if it works as expected. And click on that. Select items. Yeah, that needs to be selected. Yeah, that's it. It's working as expected with the tax selected. Yeah, now click on the reset button. That's brilliant, working as expected. So the next thing I'll do now, because I can enter characters in here, I will now write just one line of code to prevent it from to prevent the end user from being able to enter alphabet. So let's clear the system and go back into the codes. So what I'll do is double click on each object and change the events. Let me change the method to keyPress. So that means if you press any character on your keyboard. Alright, so that is the line of code. So if I try to enter anything else, the system will just reject it. So if I give it a try, let me just run it and so you guys will see it. Now I'm going to enter number 5, reset. Supposing I enter, you see, because I just pressed my character, the character keys is not accepting the character keys. It must be numbers. Numbers are okay, but character keys are not allowed. So I'm going to repeat exactly the same line of code for the other 4 objects. Okay, just like I've said, I've repeated the same thing for each of the keyPress with regards to those objects. So when you try to enter any character, those objects will not accept those characters, and that goes for this. So let's give it a try now and see. Now I'm going to try and enter F. That is not allowed. The next one, the same thing. Okay, you guys see that, which means you must enter a valid number. Okay, supposing I enter numbers there, select the tax, That's it. Oh, I must select this. Okay, I don't have to select it all. That is it there. So if you look at the tax mode plus the subtotal, and that's what you get. I can also select numbers there and do whatever I like with it, and that's it. And this is how the online system works. But when you look at this system, it has no title. So the last thing I'm going to do is just put a title there. So let's end it and put a title there. And that, we need a title. Come on here. So I now have a label there, and this label, let me just enter online shopping system. Okay, I have my online shopping system there. All I just need to do now is increase the font size. Let's look for font there. Increase the font size, maybe to something. Yeah, that might be right. Okay, let's move it and dump it right there. That's it. That's my online shopping system. So let's run it again and see how it looks. There, that is it, folks. So I'm just going to call this the end of this program, and thanks for watching. Select this there. So guys, I'm going to call it the end of this program. Thanks for watching, and you all have a nice day now.